Holy shit. All right. All right. I've got a lot of an hour of poetry for you in 2 sets. A part of what I've been doing the last few years, I'm going to try to be somewhat brief in introducing this, is looking at, I guess the last 10 years, looking at the history of the avant-garde going back before it looked avant-garde to us. So you kind of typically go back to about Dada, and stuff still looks weird to us today. What I'm looking at today is kind of, a lot of it is the 19th century avant-garde stuff where, one generation's madness is the next generation's, experimental is the next generation's, edgy is the next generation's, normal is the next generation's, like, oh, I've heard that. So what I'm doing here is, these are a bunch of translations of French avant-garde poetry that I've been doing over the last 15 years or whatever. A lot of them, if you're interested in anybody that I read in particular, I have published, I have for sale over there in various forms. What I'm doing here is I'm going to give you just a bunch of poetry starting in 1798, moving up to the Dada period. We're just going to kind of watch this gradual evolution of avant-garde poetics through that time. So I guess 2 things I'll ask you to keep in mind there. One is to kind of keep in mind when we're looking at. Something from 1798 is not going to feel like Dada today, right? But put yourself in 1798 and in the mindset of most normal people in 1798. And we'll kind of see how that evolves. The other thing is that this was a community of weirdos in the 19th century who everybody thought was insane, but it was a community just like we had today. Pretty much everybody I'm reading pretty much knew people from the previous and next generation, all of these people who were alive, whose lives overlapped and knew each other. So this is actually a community evolving, not just a random kind of selection of texts. And it's all stuff that was very underground at the time. So that's all I'm doing here. I'm not going to give you a lot of introductions of who I'm doing. I'll tell you who it is. You won't have heard of them, and then I'll give you the date. And I'm just going to move through so we can get some more stuff in here. All right, so the first thing I'm going to read, 1798. This is by Constance Marie Thais, the Princess de Songe. She was actually a princess by marriage. It is called A Squib on Female Writers. What woe for the female writer! Good heavens, vocation forlorn! Whether she be feared or adored, all and sundry short a sniper. Should she be earnest and sincere, this is, they'll say, pretentiousness. Should she enjoy one bit of cheer, they'll say, an exhibitionist. Dare she indulge herself one thing, they're sure to read some sin in this. Nor may she speak one word, nor sing, nor smile, lest shame on her she bring. These fools are hurt by her silence, but they're scarcely brushed by her speech. She's forced to chat in one-liners or trade in ambiguities, as if she's some eccentric creature straight off by one and all examined. Straight off, a puritanic stance throws at her an insolent glance. One priggish man who rules his roost encumbers her with grueling rules, and back to needlework she's cast after her 15 years' fine work. One shrew antagonizes her and offers intolerant tones out loud, some plaudits insincere, in whispers, insults sharply honed. One scribbler shows up at her home, despite her orders crystal clear, and henceforth recaps far and near. I dropped by Mrs. So-and-so's, there we have, between you and me, chatted about her brand new piece, and my instructions sure won't hurt. One poet reproaches her prose. One prosist reproaches her verse. They project on her 100 sins, and that which they project, they print. They slander her, they lie, they laugh, to the duped eyes of the universe. Add to these sundry agonies this rigmarole's proprieties, the songs, aphorism, pamphlet, programs listing nice disciples, and you will know just what it's like to be less doltish than the norm. Good heavens, vocation forlorn. Yep, I renounced it all for life. Away, you ink, you pens, you paper, you love of verse, rancor, or folly. Yet no, Return with all your glare, confront all this gossipy strife. You know how I may be spared from the ills you pour upon me. This is Charles Nodier from 1830.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1830. Piff, puff, but the plan! Arms! 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 Lindsann! I just want to point out, that was written before Andrew Jackson was president. As was the following one by Charles Lassailly from The Cunning of Triomphe from 1833. Huh? Eh? Oh. Profession of Faith by the author. This is by Beatrice Burrell from 1831, called Burn. It's a quote to be started off. To Paul Avril, Secretary of the Friends of the People, which was a revolutionary, insurrectionary organization. From St. Just. The aristocracy says they're going to destroy each other, but the aristocracy is lying to its own heart. It is they whom we destroy. They know this full well. St. Just. Yo! You're all so shallow, men cowardly, craven. Yo! You're all so shallow, whom they call delightful. Yo! You're all so shallow, your spirit's also vile. You, royalty gutbags, veritable ravens. Yo! He breathes such deep disgust, mob fierce and frightful. Yeast that re-needs another journal every day. In sludge and rubbish rises to the cranium, pursuing its mahout with his banal hooray. God damn! It's very fit a tyrant governs them, his crushing megaphone inflating them with fear. These narrow retailers make drunk some bandolier. These gelings turns of the truth. To any sage who claims this is their monarchy, that there are they gawk dumbfounded, caterwaul and anarchy. They picture only scaffolds in everything we make. Sad people, settle down. Who yearns to see you killed? Put on a few less airs before you make us laugh. Unless that headsman's axe swerves wildly in a swing, your brows for chopping blocks are too low grade by half. This is best friend, Philoteo Nitti from 1833, Incantation. Another epigraph here. My hardships and my blood determine my career. My blood speaks to me 'tis my blood that I hear. I do not think me, I have sensations, and my simple desires merit my passions. Victor Escus. To his palace abhorred, beneath boulders deep bored, Itobal comes alone. Underneath the low lintel, he snatches up his gun and his bronze-tinted sword. Then, on a bed of rushes, branch dead and brittle, his spent height allows to tumble soilward. But in vain this throat slicer, whom fatigue so exceeds, ceasing 3 days of marching and blood-spattered fight, seeks slumber here within his cavern's frigid bite. Profound vertigo on his obsession feeds. 1,000 curses, quoth he behind his bite. There, close upon my ear, a swarm musters and roils. My spasming muscles convulse, my lifeblood boils. You would think I was on rageous anthracite. I know not which cruel sprite is so spitefully frantic to thus strip an old wolf of his slumber he's won. So what? Do I not own an arcane magic to souse my senses with a balm lethargic for 3 entire reigns of night and of the sun? Hey there! Do you stir, dull and vacant skulls of all the craven vials whom my knife hand has splayed? Skulls who slumber alongside broad, well-trampled ways, in the water of wells, in the forests baleful. Bring it on! Bring it on! Upon the winds take wing, profit then from the dark in your advent aerial. Then, alongside faint screams, with wheezings funereal, around my bedside valance, dance, dance, madly circling. He scarcely dared to issue these demonic bulls. Then, through the cloven rocks, boisterously in their bound, upon amber rays a cortege of skulls, by whom swiftly the blood-spattered bedside is crowned. The dance tightens round, 'tis convulsed and whirled amiss, and beguiled, mesmerized by the arrhythmic course of psalms that the ball is buzzing in its bliss. Fervently our highwaymen to slumber deep is forced. Yo, all you moralists, what's that about remorse? This is from the following year, 1834, by Marceline de Bourg-Amour. And this, Lyon, 1834, this is written after government troops had opened fire on a peaceful protest. We cannot even bury these dead of ours. Too great the cost of priestly funerals. So they lie stark, all torn with cruel balls, awaiting coffins, crosses, and remorse. Now is the assassin king. He stalks to fetch the price of blood from out the treasury. He slays in passing some defenseless wretch, yet still insatiate with blood is he. God sees him. God will gather like bruised flowers the souls of babes and women who to him are fled. The air with outraged souls is dim. On earth men wade in blood. Merciful powers. The spirit haunts its desecrated corpse, but all too dear are priestly funerals. So our dead lie all torn with cruel balls, awaiting coffins, crosses, and remorse. Wear black, my sisters, weep as ne'er before. They will not let us take our slain away. They make one heap of their dishonored clay. And God, thou knowest that never arms they bore. This is 3 pieces from 1871. This is the Zootis notebook. The Zootis were a group of poets who met during the Paris Commune and did some of the most experimental poetry that survived from the 18th century. As you will see, this was unpublishable at the time. The first one is by Rimbaud, Drunk Driver. You're ready. Nasty quaffs, nacre watch, acrid law, taxi falls, lady drops crotch, bleeds, rails, wheeze. This next one is also by Rimbaud. But lastly, that having, I can, and by name, to dream the picture of those creatures, and far off, the elaborate of a collar. And this is a collaboration between Rimbaud and Verlaine, his lover. Charm and party. Dreamer, scapping, acts as rabbits neath his blazer. Oh, Columbine, how one laser. Dough meat tappin', eyes of rabbits, which soon Hooker basks in good times. This is from 1876 by Monty Nakin, an entirely forgotten poet. I happened upon this book on eBay, and this is the only thing he ever published. This is one book. I've never seen anybody talk about it. This is called Cadavers Afloat from 1876. To my friend Alfred Craiglinger. Within the hoary castle's moat, on water one cadaver floats. The valorous Count Hyacinth from holy lands returning hence. While wending on his way he's dreamed, the wind hissed through the forest's deeps. In shuddering tall trees o'erlooming, high myopic owls are hooing. And 'neath the walls of his chateau, on water one cadaver floats. One single apprehension mystic tortured bold Count Hyacinth. On fire to spy his hall once more, he lashed his dark and mighty horse. He lashed the steed quite boorishly, on fire his dame once more to see. Within the hoary castle's moat, on water one cadaver floats. The Count arrives at last. He sounds the horn. He shouts. No one around. And the citadel is open wide. Dropped drawbridge, all's unoccupied. He enters, sees the doors all hewn, the paving tiles with blood bestrewn. He sees from walls of that chateau, on water one cadaver float. He burned to witness his countess, embrace and joyous drunkenness. And when the morn to night succeeds, wind hisses through the forest's deeps. In shuddering tall trees or looming, high myopic owls are hooing. And 'neath the walls of this chateau, on water, two cadavers float. All right. Next one's less depressing but more creepy. This is from 1870. The Young God's Jealousy by Nina de Calia, or a hugely underrated poet. A savant made a voyage to Egypt, having hoped to penetrate the horror born in purpled chambers, where the old Theban kings, in ablutions made sacred, are interred underneath profoundly hollowed stone. He spied a tiny female foot, albeit rent by Bedouin thieves poaching sumptuous amulets. The balm was bleeding down in long-drawn bandage strips. Henna restored the digits' former rosy tint. Pure, this foot has preserved throughout nights infernal the cold and supple charm of all things virginal. Away by a young god's love, childish it was born. After he kissed this foot, poised in the other sphere, the savant came to know overpowering fear and expired, going wild in the next glow of morn. Now, this is another one by her because she's awesome. The Interment of a Tree. This is from 1885, about 15 years later. The uprooted tree, cadaver vast and green, on a cumbersome wagon is dragged through the streets. The birds took leave with a hearty flap of wings. The nests are overturned, all the singing has ceased. In the unwholesome suburbs, the soiled branches are dragging behind them their tresses green with gloom. Just so, beneath the cruel blade of an assassin, is a woman who's tousled with an open wound. And this is from 1883 by Maurice Rollinat. We're moving into the decadent movement now. I'm dreaming a land that sweats carnage and crimson, spiked with green trees in the guise of a candle snuff. with crucifixes studded round along the rim of a pond where loathsome whirlpools pivot and suck. To medieval dungeons wildly addicted, in some old manor's depth I bury myself up, as if I were sniffing the mystery which swims between vast walls extending into velvet dusk. For gardens, I'd like 2 or 3 burial grounds, where alone, for entire nights, I'd prowl around, triumphant and morose about the place I'd strut. Unushered by lizards as fat as on the Tigris, oh, to puff my opium from an infant's skull, feet casually propped against a tigress. This is by Laurent Tailade, another amazing poet who's never translated because it's so hard to translate. This is Hydrotherapy from 1891. The old gentleman, to relish a douche ascendant, went and crowned his boss with the helm of an hidalgo, which, despite his portly paunch and his lumbago, lends him with Dante a family resemblance. Thus his vertebrae and clumsy limbs all trussed up, span the contraption of many a hose and lance, and meanwhile the masseurs with presumption puffed up, with rough gloves rubbed the pimples jutting from his back. Oh, cold water! Oh, rare panacea first rate, which solely can make the weary frame elastic, as well as cumbersome senators' protoplasms. This is when, in the street, when his douche culminates, the old gentleman, known as a firm magistrate, to 12-year-old girls makes the sleaziest sarcasms. Quick story about Laurent Tailade, because I can't not. Raging anarchist, right, was known for defending the anarchist bombings in Paris. He was in a restaurant which was bombed by a group of anarchists, including one of his close friends, Félix Fénéon, another symbolist writer. Tailade lost an eye in this bombing. Went to court in the trial for the defense, saying, I had it coming, I shouldn't have been in a bourgeois restaurant. Just throwing that out there. Okay, next. This is a preliminary allegory by Claude Laurie, whose real name was Irène Hillel Erlanger. I'm going to do a little bit on her too, because she's really interesting. She began writing with the symbolist movement in the 1880s, and then eventually joined the Dada movement in the 1920s, and was one of the main funders of Dada publications. When she died, there were certain people, she was an alchemist as well. When she died, there are certain people who think that the book this poem is taken from got her assassinated because she revealed mystic secrets about alchemy. So, just throw that out there. Okay. Preliminary allegory. I said I wouldn't talk, but. The lustreless rind of the pomegranate closed keeps secret of fortune lucid and exquisite. The honey, gleaming ray, amid the amber poses, and in obscurity 'tis where your choice reposes. Water limpid and chilled, crystal delicious. The ivory and the carmine of roses which fade, embalm with a perfume more sought than gloaming's peace. And a beauty serene, hidden from profane gaze, dream of diaphanous splendor and marble glazed. At the black temple's base, the white statue sleeps. Underneath the sun's fire, where the bare coruscates, the peregrine is climbing its pathways of pomp. Yet, having reached the coda of his course's length, in a secret garden he finds the source he craves, the rose and pomegranate in the shrine of a god. How blessed is one who keeps the fine treasure intense, heart and hands pure, and love and hope and contemplation, and scorning life and fortune with no lenience, as in a sacred grove with shade and silence dense, briefly within divine peace may find restoration. That's from 1909. This is from 1920 by Valentine de Saint-Point, French futurist. It's called Life. So, life! So what's with this huge outcry? I bring the speech of life. I am the word of life. My force, not dispersed, not dispersed, upon me collects and I'm crushed. Upon it multitudes have kept themselves alive, ascended, become immaterialized, while it smothers me, it smothers others who arise. I am the androgyne, who self-fertilized and self-birthed, the male ceaselessly fertilized with his own never-ending sperm, and all the burden of the world weighs upon his bosom, fertilized, impregnated in a nucleus of forces whose hostile destiny holds deliverance. Humanity is simply nature mobilized. Matter takes hold of evolution, and for the man who wants to be up to speed with humanity, it's the vessel that holds his prey. The more the androgyne ascends toward mind, the more humanity is lashed to its sides to keep it amid the mud. And every time that, tethered by the effort, it soars up and exclaims, "Spirit, to me!" the talons of ponderous beasts provoked sink more profoundly into its flesh, overrun it, and hold it. But what's with this? What's with destiny, making itself the accomplice? So what's with this huge outcry? Life. And this is by Max Jacob from 1920. Died in a concentration camp. This is called Let It Be Known. Mr. Braun, Mr. Pickle, Mr. Riddy of the Radada, Mr. and Mrs. Poofy, Mr. and Mrs. High Treason and their kids, Mr. Ronquete, Mrs. Studi Rant, Mrs. Self Beef and her nephews, Mr. Languinet, Mr. Porkyfoot, Mrs. Bungalow, Mr. and Mrs. Leonardo da Vinci and their kids, Mr. Gucci Gucci Gucci, member of the National Interpretation, Mrs. The Fever, director, Mrs. Member, Mrs. Arthur, member, Mr. and Mrs. Eugene, members, Mr. Little Wage, member, Mr. Big Eye, Director of General Direction, Mr. Bequeathall, Director General, Mrs. Longanimity, along with their dad, moms, sons, daughters, nephews, aunts, uncles, grandmas and grandpas, the whole darn family, have the honor of sharing with you that they are to be decorated with the Order of the Tiny Transversal Chinese Ivory Staff. This is Zoot by Paul Dermay. We're into Dada now. I will also point out that this is an acrostic, so if you read the first letter down, it goes ZZ of Dada, who is one of the Dadas. Zim-bada-boom, up to the oracles. It's a nose-fin crux tube. Zinc altar, lightning black screeds. Ibitum in the gut in blooms. Of all floods, save the Serta. Faint in mute carousel, pater god, Dura mater conundrum, at the eyebrows done for sulfur ink, dominates the yardarm ventriloquist. Andre Gide has pituita. And this is, next two pieces are by Celine Arnaud.
Can I make a brief announcement? It's like raining outside and somebody's car's windows are open, like a
Ooh, okay.
brown car.
Oh, that's, I think it's crazy.
That might be. Hopefully it doesn't start raining in the publication area.
I think we're good.
You usually have to build up first.
Right, I figured. That was what I figured. Right, yes, yeah. Alright, let's see here. So yeah, Celine Arnaud was married to Paul Dermay, who did the previous poem. Enigma personages. Not mysterious enough for driving your car. You'll never retrieve the key of D rearwards enigma in bus M, hung up by a star the ladder upended. Bicycle and meandering bifocals nobly upraised. Doubtless not Dada enough. Here it comes. Seated on the brink of the will-o'-the-wisp roads, on the laugh of a childish delirium, and the railroad's smart-ass whistles bears her newfangled teeth to the final train. And this is Goat Moth, also by her. These are both from 1920. Totally close to anguish, the mosquitoes in madness. Around the light bulb, the bird's demise. In the atmosphere, the atoms in tatters. Taking off with the rain, dawdling in a novice parade of harmonic moldings. Whereas, on Mendoza's terrain, the mandors chase the wooden hare across pastures and the massive wheels pushed by the pachyderms of the College of France on the benches they nap. Me, I know naught but to curse and rave against the hypothesis. Yeah. Two more. This is by Georges Raymond Dessène in Dada. This is called Pneumatic. The trail of scorching virtues is open to feet language. Never push except eczema divine. It's a shame that in closing your eyes you only rewatch whatever you saw in opening them up. Displacement game of a spyglass at whim. Bicycle between two orbits, yet not beyond its charming domain. Countenance of the quasi-virgin smiles commerce. Mr. Languid, Mr. Makeup, and Lady of Flowers have a threesome atop the table of night, wherein their urine slumbers, have their ears peeled. A police raid on the wardrobe glass and the window panes as entertainment, and as misery the memory of spasms above astride the bidet. God's interiority, castrated horn dog. The green stink bug, fed on margarine, may well take flight into sensitive hair. The sports saddle or the acetylene eye plays the expansive waters. The moths fall dead, and the air is deposited in naphthaline diapers freshly dead. Desert of metropolitan, and smokes a clarinet of accumulated ecstasies, of joys, of feather springs. Temperature so tenuous that her loving thermometer does her only in the nostrils.
All right.
And then this is 1917. This is Pierre Albert-Birot. It's called Metro, poem for two voices. All right. See how this goes.
Haberdashery.
To rock, 'tis to love the
Flights.
center.
Huge wheel.
Beings
Thermogene.
and
There's a place that isn't ugly.
things love the center.
Green light. This coat doesn't go with the hat.
The entire earth
One lantern.
loves the center. This love
Pom pom. It's the police
has made the
station. Read upon zenith.
earth the earth, mobility, the wheel.
One blue cap of
What stroke of genius.
app.
My right glove up.
Capertif.
Side down could very well be my left.
This stroke of
Glove to
The
descend
woman.
is likewise to climb.
hiss.
When it brings in day,
To kids.
it becomes
Hand.
night. Furs, muslin, parasol,
Still one
umbrella.
pay. Good dude.
The blue
Where's
of
it chill?
the sky, the
Salt in
clouds,
front of me.
the storms, the
To descend.
hurricanes
Exit.
are
Almond
maybe
eyes.
the mass of
He headed out.
human thoughts.
Correspondence. Paradigm of the socialist candidate.
Let's
A collection
Not
of
forget
elderly
my towel.
heads. Bargain prices.
Make real feather.
Georges Ribaud, okay. Ribaud d'Extend, it's a hyphenated long name. I have a hypothesis that if you have a long hyphenated French name, you'll never get translated. Because everybody, I'm like, why hasn't anyone translated this? They all have long names and English people can't.
It feels like the rest is going to be hard.
Right, yeah. But phonetically, it would be Ribamont d'Extend.
Okay.
Hit me up later, I can show you to look it up. I've got a book of his stuff.
It's like a weird version of French immortality or something.
Yeah. His stuff is really interesting. He's one of the Dadas that, he was like one of the most Dadas of Dadas. All right. Am I just continuing here? I guess, I think, maybe. Yes, I guess so. All right, we're doing it. Okay, so this is different. I wrote this. So this is Arthur Dies. This is a passage from Arthur Dies, which is a long, multi-hundred page at this point, epic, avant-garde epic poem on the Arthurian legends, which I've been working on for about 12 years or something like that. The first 6 volumes are out on Luda Passante, John and Kathy's press, so they are over there for sale.
There's one
It's
of them
worth
over there.
one of them over there, so you can fight over it.
The last
The last one. I have a few of the older editions at home I can bring tomorrow. But anyway, so this is a passage from the forthcoming volume. This is part of chapter 7. Okay, I have to do a little explanation here. So the idea is, like I say, it's an avant-garde epic. Stylistically, there's a lot in here where you have 2 or 3 words percolating through the same word at once. You might see what I mean when I start talking. But I'm going to tell you basically what's happening so you can let it flow over you, because if you try to actually say what's happening, you'll get confused. There are a lot of things that are playing on sounds in between sounds that exist in the alphabet, things like that I will come across hopefully in the way that I'm performing it. So when it sounds weird or like I'm having a stroke, that's how it's written. In terms of what's happening here, I'm not going to go through the whole plot of 6 volumes. But what's happening right here is basically a battle scene. We have Arthur. Arthur is a mythic king, or not even, whatever. He's a mythic leader. In order to become mythic, in an earlier volume, he basically had to, the just regular person, the little kid who drew the sword in the stone, had to basically be suppressed in order to, that individuality had to be suppressed in order for him to become this mythic figure. What's happening during the battle here is that Arthur falls into a bloodlust, and the remnants of that kid he used to be come back. But that kid is dead. This is now basically a ghoul. It's remnants of that memory, but it's no longer the innocent little kid. And so he goes into a battle trance, which is a thing I made up. Gets into the struggle with this other, I guess, identity, you might say. As he's seeing this crazy vision, comes back into the battle, and everybody's like, holy shit. And his sister shows up, Anna, who will later become Morgana Le Fay. She is basically kind of an avatar of healthy madness, let's say. She's the anarch, she's she's Queen Mab, she's the joker, she's the trickster, she's the irrational, right? She comes back with her army of like crazy people, basically, from the Forest Perilous, and they come in and basically do a sit-in and stop the battle by just having so much fun between the armies, nobody can actually fight anymore. She gets pissed off at Arthur, tells him off for having a war and killing people, and he kind of goes through that struggle. So that's what's going to be happening. Now I'm going to read it. Beginning with 2 epigraphs, because I love epigraphs. Rit, a horse, Its forelegs splintered by a cannon shot, lifted its head sideways from the ground and neighed piteously. Madwell stepped forward, drew his revolver, and shot the poor beast between the eyes, narrowly observing its death struggle, which, contrary to his expectation, was violent and long. But at last it lay still, the tense muscles of its lips, which had uncovered the teeth in a horrible grin, relaxed. The sharp, clean-cut profile took on a look of profound peace and rest. Ambrose Bierce, the coup de grace. A broken space, a slip down into, a birth and resurrection. A rotted earth-bellied horse-toothed god came to. REBHG and gesticulation rode around. This is very dangerous to meaning. Bradley Chris unveiled. Now Arthur, Aethelus Kingen, Mountus and Press, now Cador's found and pressed, mid heap of horses' bodies dead, mid heap of human bodies dead. A fight on foot, fierce lion of wood, mid ring of woeful woundings. See Arthur, Aethelus King, afoot, and wrapped in lunged dust. None might him know, for blood is through his shield. All blood-rimmed rips his buckler. All blight-brain stuck smears his word. Now Arthur, Aethelus King, here sees passing puissant steed, forthwith smite savage that rider, that helm foil through smashes, her teeth his blade biting, like unto tooth-seed scatter. Here he seizes fast that steed, says, "Fair freighter, friend, faster, with thy charger I charge thee, thou stand firm in thy need." So fair and fearsome, battle shamanic, in thick press Cador, Arthur, Aethelus Kingen, boars on every handed death outround, in mill press laughter, wheel round, deal out gut spills, so stuck rings of spleen and lung on spears, strong on knotted, blanketed on the ground. So shudders of rat will stab, youth will wretch there and pierce. So Arthur, worthiest king, strews livers at limbus, ichor in rivers, loin shreds and ligaments, horse shed in hue mangled, litter slush or grab at leg. Now Arthur, worthiest king, pierce eaves, scar, let fluid flowers blood from flanks. His brutal lance bursts bowels, tear seams at blood wine body bags. Wart ghoul float up wrath, Arthur's a balloon. Organisms, vengeance buoyant, in unexpressed scandal scar, in unleashed violence petals, orgiastic carotid spray, cleanlich skull cleaved, sodden sundered rout, chops revenge meat, severs human bloomage short, vista scything eye horse pop, gut cut up, gorge swing, head swing, horse chop, blood dust breathing Arthur, wart his soft Kingen, Arthur, wart ghoul, in horror unprisoned, in senses unbound, flesh upborne, by unsense of open entrails of human and horse, by anti-sight of carcass stacks of human and horse, by unfluid gums his fingers of horse and human, by anti-shriek of death dark's terror of human and horse, by unspray of copper salt his tongue, so sore a grieved wart in Arthur on Ante walks in the cloud, sees in the cloud. Gula wart up grief, passing, sad, distorted, kills forth the unanti prayers. Now Arthur wart war dances dead lie. On forth his muscles slay mechanic. On forth his sinews slashing automatic. But Arthur Selving's lost in combat trance. Ward Arthur swappis blind-sighted through blood cloud. Purblind Gula ward beholds but heart-ripped specters of human and horse. Hates to rogue puppets of horse and human. Threat-trap spokes of human and horse. Resentment dolls of horse and human. Ego forth homunculus of human and horse. Seer Arthur beholds but vision for 8 threads, set pooled seeds paths, whence each lead, led, or not transcend, but rude of futurities, strive vipering for birth. Now Gula wart again, via his this unabyss transverse of the viscera, glimpses Yaldabaoth into his continent of gut. Now Arthur, auto-alien body host his wrenched, while that wart lays onward, beholds afar his rampant wart will wreak on carnage magic darkly. Arthur in visions beholds afar incarnates that ecstasy of killing bliss, beholds the clouds, a stort of all, uttermost fear of atomized mundus, of pneuma congealed, gangrene o' the now ejected in seership. Arthur the anti-beholds. The clouds roils, spiraled gloam giddowy, the cloud grum, bled, foot under, gut shrivels, ear numbs, the clouds carmine forge, low, black lightning, blindage, while that Gula wart slays onward. Arthur, envisioned, beholds the unearthed, gum moist avec blood daub, ruddy avec horse juice rot, ruddy avec youth juice rot, seized at moist gum anti-Arthur sprout horse teeth, cyclopean these horse teeth, for utmost unmiles up-jutting in rocky horse-tooth edge files, in strew of horse-tooth lumps, erect from corpse heaps mounded, like unto war-splint shield horse teeth those on ante, like unto craggy barnacles these horse teeth, like unto barrow bleach chalk horse teeth these, like unto massy fossil lichened horse teeth these, like unto yellow crow-licked bones these horse teeth, like unto scarificial menhir stones these horse teeth. And behold, sag huge upon the Itna mud, that pink slime massive stomach perch, on earth belly piled with slaughter pillar pit, that pink slime stomach shiver pulse, while that Gula wart slays onward. Arthur sees the blood world seep on ante, through crimson spread the azure skies, silk out, walks in the cloud, sees in the cloud, sees its spectral in the cloud convulse, above outrageous pathway wart cars out, sees bolts electric on cloud flank lick. He's rolling clap peel chase on spark. Sees pores of cloud skin wind like bead on ante. Sees down poured blood rain. Sheets of blood. Torrents of blood. Storms of blood. Buckets of blood. Streams of blood. Puddles of blood. lakes of blood, human blood and horse blood, anti-blood and unblood. While that gula warts lays onward, gula wart in distort, gula wart reselving, death and a porcupine rolleth ever at play. Now Arthur beholds in seer spasm that vicious hatch of stomach egg, grimlich vast on anti-crucible, skin etched from inward taut, skin punctured acid spur, from criminal egg mundane, futurity hatches nourished ill, upon hintertime's sulfur yoke. Seas poke out from that rift. Lo, sees the earth belly horse-toothed god, renew-born, still Titan. So hither fur mat thick with gut yoke. So he his scrambled bled slim tree legis. So hooves of Itna obsidian serrate. Slip in stomach placenta lickage. So there it snap gnash teeth, gum itna fins, lip unfins, earth belly horse tooth god, rain skin lake shower shed from snail stickish skin, drools acid runnels web dirt wet parched whistle, deadliest venom villages for veins. Hither shadow forests will, to hear her his breath gives by earth to pest. It their gallop sham tramples, horse-toothed god snorts poison sane. Horse-toothed heart beats wart ghoul, Arthur sees at horse-toothed god, to wart ghoul shawl hate harness ever forth. Pain! Snaps back the sight of combat trance. Arthur, refleshed, but lace up about him, nor yet that horror vision fade. Now spiked by wound to the war world. Arthur startless back in precious bleeding. Arthur struggles past, bleeding. Arthur wakens, sweat from battle trance, bleeding, all surrounded in death's till. Arthur, eye of the ghoul wart storm, bleeding, all surrounded in death's will, by dead human horse, by arterial hacking magic, spiral of slain, by coward awe crouched shield wall, by shock glazed weary warriors. Arthur's comrades, acknowledge thirst, while Arthur wrestles gula wart within him, bleeding, whilst Balin and Belan load on Lot their curses, and Balon and Belin their foe folks' feats be marvel crossed, and Cador fumes for choler righteous wrath. So charge a Pendragon to charge that bit of lateral casualties, whilst him in with wart gula wrestles Arthur, bleeding. Whilst Bors and Ector, peace-seeking, put lead for drawing rein-in butcher party. Now stounded foemen shrug off dread. Now taunting buckler bulwark's edge. Now threaten maimage mill again. Whilst Arthur him wrestles in war with bleeding. At death wall down closes, grin thing ranks its shield teeth. Clatter a leather jaw of doom upon Valbrithianic allies. Now, Billy-Billy-Ba! Klaxon swerve, surprise, eruption, bed lambs, rumpus screech, balls, but rash of bracken maw, sauvage, forest perilous, but owls, laughter of bell leaf, Cantopies, Arthur's army, Cantopies, Lot's host, Cantopies, Baronic companies, sauvage forest perilous coughs, of throngs of craftish merry motley, swarm of lunatic locust anarchs, so will o songs, Anna's dotil phalanx. her chanted jest hour troop, her mesa lit a mad mob, coterie of matris, birds at men, outbelt songs, lace war chaunts through, crowd of woman, beasts at thanes, but rust and battern pastures for foliage full moonwood. Planned sea of shadows clearing shiftings, grasping vines, serpenting, puts words at rest. So flood sweeps loose as long the she-eld leaves, need the threads, the armi, and feel the gap between their errances, shrunk, prattle, in vain goes respond. So Anna advents warfare sublimate. Anna mob, mantic anima caprice. Anna lud, wrencher of gods in war machine. Now Anna dances, corkscrew procession, circle curlicuing like unto lissome breeze gust. Anna folly, ship for questing fools, see her caravel, put row, put art carnival ties, see her float through warrior, but let out wrecks, womb water lunar, laps newborn sages. When serene she, side reel in procession, to Arthur dux bellorum, Hagor, Hugh and the hacker, bleeding, in grappa avec gula wart within. To Arthur Rex, tempter bound, sea king righteous order, bleeding, in grap avec gula wart within. Death and a porcupine rolleth in play. To Arthur, Pendragon, mundane mirror or reverse animus to win. Now Anna, harsh saying, has stored. Now Anna, harsh saying, her brother giftess. Says Anna, thou hast never, brother, done bloody now. Says, of person prisons 70,000 this marrow beheld. Says, of vital essences, near singlet 4,000 this noon behold. Says, ne'er such gruesome flesh glass, so kahunic broke, ne'er such sanguine spirit juice, deadliest venom, villages for veins, so grimlick spilled, but ill so wells tick-like, sucks on desecrated hosts. Says Anna forth, nay, never hast thou, but rather bloody now. Says Anna forth, what? Avalon abjure thee! Says Anna forth, for that never shalt thou pour bloody now. Says Anna forth, nay, a sure victory in sin you aid euphonious visitation. Thine nemesis o'erthrown, their horses hulks harpooned, thine foes to dust transposed. But an thou tarry yet at stilling fans the tongues of war, or turn thy fortunes presciently. Says Hector, she says right passing wise. Says Bors, she says right passing true. All right. Thank you.